Morning, y'all. Just wanted to make a quick video this morning and talk about what it means to live as a called out one. A called out one is the definition of the church in the New Testament Bible. It comes from the word ekklesia in the Greek, and ekklesia means the ones that are called out, the called out ones. We are called to be not of this world, but to be living instead for the one who created this world, living for Jesus. And so how does it translate? How do we live as one that's called out from the world while we're here on earth? Well, I have a couple of verses, and this might be a two-part video, but the first set of verses that I want to give you comes from 1 John chapter 2. And in 1 John chapter 2, he starts out talking about how it is that we can live free of sin. And we know that because he has called us out to live not like the world. But he goes on to say in verse 3, "We know that we have come to know him if we keep his commands. Whoever says, 'I know him,' but does not do what he commands is a liar, and the truth is not in that person. But if anyone obeys his word, love for God is truly made complete in them. This is how we know we are in him. Whoever claims to live in him must live as Jesus did." And then later on, he says down here in verse 15, he says, "Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in them. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, comes not from the Father, but from the world. The world and its desires pass away, but whoever does the will of God lives forever." In verse 18, he says, "Dear children, this is the last hour. And as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have come. This is how we know this is the last hour. They went out before us, and they did not really belong to us. For if they had belonged to us, they would remain with us. But their going out shows that none of them belong to us." And this is referring to many false Christs, many people who falsely act as though they are and proclaim that they're with Jesus and living for Jesus, but in truth, their teachings and their example are not modeling Jesus himself, not the Jesus we learn from in the Bible. The Jesus we learn in the Bible was always giving and was always gracious and generous and was always teaching us to follow God. And these new antichrists, these false Christs, are teaching us to live for ourselves and to live for blessings and to live for God's blessing here on the earth. But as John warns us here in 1 John, we are not to be living for this world. We're not to be pursuing the things of this world that would want us to love after them, but we are to love instead God in the midst of this world and to do the work that he's called us to do. So in part 2, I'm going to share a little bit more about that and give you some more examples and give you a really good idea of how you can evaluate where you're living and what your focus is on. I love you all. I'm trying to keep this short. God bless you. Have a great day, and Jesus is coming soon.